This video is titled One World Government. In the last video, we discussed the one world currency. We will zero in on the final world government found in the Bible and led by the Antichrist. But first, a little history. First, the Tower of Babel, 2000 to 2500 BC. Babel represents humanity's first attempt at a unified rebellion against God and is a precursor to end-time globalism. Second, ancient empires, 2000 BC to 476 AD. To name a few, the Assyrian Empire, Babylonian Empire, Persian Empire, Alexander the Great Empire, and the Roman Empire all sought vast, near global dominion, often controlling much of the known world, resembling a one world government. Third, medieval and early modern attempts, 500 to 1800 AD. The collapse of Rome led to fragmented powers which sought universal dominion, often under religious or imperial banners. Some of these include the Holy Roman Empire, the Catholic Church influence, and the Ottoman Empire. Fourth, modern imperial ambitions, 1800 to 1945. It is now the age of colonization and industrialization, and we see new attempts at global dominance. This includes the Napoleon Empire, the British Empire, Nazi Germany, and the Soviet Union. Here we see ideologies like fascism and communism prefiguring unified systems of worship and economy. Fifth, post-World War II global institutions, 1945 to present. We now see attempts at global governance through international organizations, economic integration, and ideological movements. The United Nations began in 1945, the World Economic Forum in 1971, and the European Union in 1993. And six, contemporary trends and speculative movements, 2000 to 2025. What have we seen with our own eyes in recent decades? Here are a few. AI, digital IDs, CBDCs, COVID-19, Paris Climate Agreement, BRICS Alliance, George Soros, Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates, and many more. The Bible tells us that during the last half of the 7-year tribulation, that the Antichrist will take over and be in total control of the one world government, with one exception: God is waiting. Who are some of the figures and entities that we see on the world stage today that are leading us to the final world government? For me, the biggie is the United Nations. The UN has the Agenda 2030 in place with 17 Sustainable Development Goals. These address the global challenges of poverty, climate, and health by 2030. Next is the World Health Organization, WHO. The WHO presently is negotiating a pandemic preparedness and response treaty aiming to standardize global health responses. WHO collaborates with public-private enterprises to manage vaccine distribution and health policies. Now the IMF, International Monetary Fund. The IMF is advisory and not authoritarian, but guess what? They are pushing CBDCs big time and giving out loans to nations facing economic crisis, often requiring policy reforms that align with global standards. Next, the World Trade Organization, WTO. The WTO sets global trade rules and requires nations to align with its agreements. It works with the IMF and the World Bank. Here's a bad one. The World Economical Forum, WEF. This is run by Klaus Schwab. They are pushing the Great Reset Initiative. In their 8 predictions of the world in 2030, the first prediction is You will own nothing and you will be happy. The WEF also plans to depopulate the world population of 8 billion people down to 500 million. The WEF wants to shut down America since we are the last obstacle in the way of a global takeover. Let's end this part with a couple of men, Bill Gates and George Soros. Bill Gates is the largest funder of WHO. He seeks to shape global health policies. He pushed mRNA vaccines despite the known risk. He finances GMO crops, backs sterilization programs in Africa, and invests in geoengineering, which includes blocking the sun. He is partnering with MasterCard to track people via vaccines. George Soros is attempting to undermine America. He funds Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and the Open Society Foundation. He supports mass migration to destabilize Western nations. And oh yes, he funds progressive DAs who refuse to prosecute crime. Let's spend a minute discussing current trends and developments that could be interpreted as steps toward a centralized global authority led by the Antichrist. We are seeing globalism and international cooperation today. We are seeing technological advancements that enable global control. We are seeing economic consolidation and global financial systems rise up. We have seen and are seeing crisis-driven unity. We are seeing cultural and religious shifts toward universalism. We are seeing geopolitical power blocks develop along with regional integration. This could lead to forming of a 10 nation or regions that are prophesied in the Bible. Hey, I'm ready for the Bible. We are going to quote and dig into some verses that describe the coming one world government. I'm going to put up on the screen a chart that I want you to follow. First, I'm going to read verses from the book of Daniel. As I read these verses, please keep your eyes on the upper part of the chart. Then I will read verses from the book of Revelation. As I read these, keep your eyes on the lower half of the chart. Then we will summarize what we have learned from Daniel and Revelation. So here are some select verses from Daniel 2 and Daniel 7. Keep your eyes on the upper part of this chart. Daniel 2, verses 31 and 32. Your Majesty looked, and there before you stood a large statue, an enormous, dazzling statue, awesome in appearance. The head of the statue was made of pure gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of baked clay. Now Daniel 2, verses 36 to 43. This was a dream, and now we will interpret it to the king. Your Majesty, you are the King of kings. The God of heaven has given you dominion and power and might and glory. In your hands he has placed all mankind and the beasts of the field and the birds in the sky. Wherever they live, he has made you ruler over them all. You are the head of gold. That is Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. Verse 39 continues. After you, another kingdom will arise, inferior to yours. Next, a third kingdom, one of bronze, will rule over the whole earth. Finally, there will be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron. For iron breaks and smashes everything. And as iron breaks things to pieces, so it will crush and break all the others. Just as you saw that the feet and toes were partly of baked clay and partly of iron, so this will be a divided kingdom. Yet it will have some of the strength of iron in it, even as you saw iron mixed with clay. As the toes were partly iron and partly clay, so this kingdom will be partly strong and partly brittle. And just as you saw the iron mixed with baked clay, so the people will be a mixture and will not remain united, any more than iron mixes with clay. Now to Daniel 7, verses 2 through 7. Daniel said, "In my vision at night I looked, and there before me were 4 winds of heaven, churning up the great sea. 4 great beasts, each different from the other, came up out of the sea. The first was like a lion, and there before me was the second beast, which looked like a bear. After that I looked, and there before me was another beast, one that looked like a leopard, and on its back it had 4 wings, like those of a bird. This beast had 4 heads. After that, in my vision at night, I looked, and there before me was a 4th beast, terrifying and frightening and very powerful. It had large iron teeth. It crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. It was different from all the other former beasts. It had 10 horns." Now to Daniel 7, verse 17. "The 4 great beasts are 4 kings that will rise from the earth." And Daniel 7, verses 23 and 24. "He gave me this explanation. The 4th beast is a 4th kingdom that will appear on earth. It will be different from all the other kingdoms and will devour the whole earth, trampling it down and crushing it. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will come from this kingdom. After them another king will arise, different from the earlier ones. He will subdue 3 kings." Now I'd like to read select verses from the book of Revelation, so keep your eyes on the lower half of the chart. Revelation 17, verses 7 through 13. "Then the angel said to me, 'Why are you astonished? I will explain to you the mystery of the woman and of the beast she rides, which has the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast, which you saw once was, now is not, and yet will come up out of the abyss and go to its destruction. This calls for a mind of wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 hills on which the woman sits. They are also 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, the other one has not yet come, but when he does come, he must remain for only a little while. The beast who once was, and now is not, is an 8th king. He belongs to the 7 and is going to his destruction. The 10 horns you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but who for 1 hour will receive authority as kings along with the beast. They have one purpose and will give their power and authority to the beast." Finally, Revelation 13, verses 1 and 2. "The dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and I saw a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 crowns on its horns. And on each head was a blasphemous name. The beast I saw resembled a leopard, but had feet like those of a bear and a mouth like that of a lion." So what did we learn from all of this? Number 1, the 4th beast of Daniel has 10 horns, has legs of iron, and feet of iron and clay. 2, this 4th beast is the same as the 7th kingdom in Revelation, call it the New World Order or the revived Roman Empire, which has 10 horns and 10 kings, but no governing head. And thirdly, out of the seventh kingdom comes a composite beast, and the Antichrist is in full control of this eighth kingdom. There are 10 horns and 7 heads. This is the one world government run by the Antichrist, and this occurs during the second half of the tribulation. Before I end with some good news, let me discuss the 10 horns or 10 kings found in Revelation 17 verse 10. Are they actual kings, prime ministers, tech oligarchs, or could they be regional governors appointed by the United Nations? To help answer this, I want to see what the Bible says about the revived Roman Empire. Number 1, it is an alliance of 10 nations or 10 kings. 2, it will arise from the ashes of the ancient Roman Empire. The ruler will come from among the people whose armies destroyed the temple, will come from among the descendants of ancient Rome. 3, it will be composed of weak and strong nations. This is alluded to in the iron and clay. 4, it is formed from an alliance when together they become a world superpower. Their path to strength will not be a smooth transition. 5, it will be volatile in nature. God said just as iron and clay don't stick together, these nations will not hold together, a very unstable mix. 6, it will rule the whole world. The 10-nation alliance and the 10 kings that lead it will emerge as a global empire. It will crush and devour every nation in the world. And 7, one king will emerge from the revived Roman Empire. An 11th king, who is not part of the 10, will emerge from them. He will oppose 3 of the 10 kings and take control for himself. This is the Antichrist, and he will be the most powerful dictator the world has ever known. So, ready? Here is my take, mine only. Let me speculate a little. I believe that the 10 kings will come out of what is known as the European Union. Why? The EU meets all of the aforementioned characteristics of the revived Roman Empire except one. That is, there must be 10 nations. Even though there are 27 nations in the EU today, I believe there will be a realignment down to 10 nations in the future. And who are the 10 kings? I believe they are 10 heads of state, not prime ministers, not oligarchs, not regional governors. Each head of state controls the police power of his nation. It is formidable. As we find in Revelation 17:13, the 10 kings have one purpose and give their power and authority to the Antichrist. Let's end with some good news. Verse 14 states, they will wage war against the Lamb, but the Lamb will triumph over them because he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and with him will be his called, chosen, and faithful followers. Amen. God gave us all of these scriptures for a reason, and it is not to scare us or make us fearful. He wants us to search all the scriptures, watch the headlines that bombard us daily, and then let God teach us those things. We need to be about the Lord's business. We need to pray for and share the gospel with our friends and family. And each of us must make sure and have the assurance that our name is in the book of life. Our next video will be One World Religion, so I ask you to share Christ.